This is GARIS Essays, that is 2-3 page opinion pieces on topics such as species dominance, the global state, politics, femtotech, religion, society and education. Written by and read aloud by Prof. Dr. Hugo de GARIS. This is essay number 1616, part 2, entitled The Intellect War. Should massively intelligent machines replace humanity as the dominant species in the coming few decades? Essay itself. So continuing straight on from part 1. Make it a bit bigger. So 9.7. The debate turns violent. Assassination, sabotage. When people are surrounded by ever-increasingly intelligent home robots and other artificial brain-based products, the general level of alarm will increase to the point of panic. Assassinations of brain builder company CEOs will start. Home robot factories will be arsoned and sabotaged, etc. The cosmists and cyborgists will be forced to strengthen their resolve. The intellect war will be drawing ever closer. 9.8. The Terrans will first strike before it's too late for them. The Terrans will have been organizing for a first strike and will have made preparations. They will then take power in a worldwide coup of the global government that is likely to exist by mid-century and begin exterminating the cosmists and cyborgists in a global purge, exterminating millions of them, or at least that is the Terran plan. 9.9. Cosmists/cyborgists anticipate this first strike and are ready. But the cosmists/cyborgists will be following the arguments of the Terrans very closely and will be preparing equally for a confrontation against the Terrans. They will have their own plans and their own weapons and militaries. If the Terrans first strike, a quick reply will follow from the cosmists/cyborgists and the intellect war will have begun. 9.10. Later 21st century weapons leads to giga-death war. If one extrapolates up the graph of the number of people killed in major wars from the early 19th century, the Napoleonic Wars, to later 21st century, the intellect war, then one predicts that billions of people will be killed using later 21st century weapons. This giga-death figure is the characteristic number of deaths in any major later 21st century war. About 300 million people were killed for political reasons in the 20th century. 10. Vote. At the end of the talks I give on this topic, I usually invite my audiences to vote on the following question. Do you feel personally that humanity should build intellects, these godlike, massively intelligent machines, despite the risk that they might decide in a highly advanced form to wipe out humanity? Yes or no? The result is usually around a 50-50, 60-40, 40-60 cosmos/Terran split. I notice that most people, like me, are highly ambivalent about intellect building. They are awed by the prospect of what intellects could become, and horrified at the prospect of a giga-death intellect war. The fact that the cosmos/Terran split is so even will make the intellect war in all the more divisive and bitter. This divisiveness can be expressed in the form of the following slogan. Do we build gods, or do we build our potential exterminators? 11. Questionnaires. This past year I've been handing out questionnaires on the issue of species dominance. The first one was given to a group of electronic engineers in Melbourne, Australia. 60% of them thought that an intellect war is coming. Even half of the members of the various transhumanist organizations, who usually think that an intellect war is improbable, think that the rise of intellects would pose an existential risk to human beings. So the future looks pretty gloomy. 12. Is the intellect war avoidable? If an intellect war killing billions of people occurs in the late 21st century, then young people alive now will probably still be alive to be part of it, and therefore will probably be killed by it. This is such a depressing prospect that it's understandable that much effort in the transhumanist research community is devoted to trying to make intellects human-friendly. Some brain builders think that it may be possible to make artlects so that they remain friendly towards human beings even once they have modified themselves into vastly superior creatures. Personally, I'm extremely skeptical that this is possible. The early artlects, still a little bit dumber than their human programmers, could be made to be human-friendly, but once they start performing evolutionary engineering experiments on parts of themselves to vastly increase their mental capacities, there will be no way to ensure the human-friendly outcome. It's virtually certain that advanced artlects will have attitudes towards human beings that will be totally alien to us. Humans will not be able to predict these attitudes. Hence, there would always be a risk that the artlects could turn out to be very human-unfriendly. Therefore, Terran politicians will not tolerate the construction of superhuman artlects, and in the limit will go to war against the Cosmos/Cyborgists to stop the rise of the artlect. Another approach to avoiding an artlect war is to have all human beings become cyborgs. If this could be done lockstep, so that everyone advances at the same rate simultaneously, for example, with everyone adding the same artilectural components to their heads at the same time, then the argument of the cyborgists that an artlect war could be avoided because there would be no Terrans nor Cosmos left to fight it would be valid, but it's an entirely unrealistic precondition. In reality, there would be cyborgian divergence. The cyborgs would advance in many different directions and at different speeds. Many people would remain ardent Terrans, choosing not to modify themselves at all. To the Terrans, there's not much difference between an advanced cyborg and a pure artlect, given the huge computing capacity of nanotech 1 bit per atom matter. The presence of millions of cyborgs in their midst would only render the Terrans even more paranoid and fearful. The Terrans could not help noticing that the cyborgs and artlects keep getting smarter every year, so if the Terrans want human beings to remain the dominant species, that is, most intelligent, the Terrans will have to first strike and prepare for it before they become too stupid. There are, however, scenarios where humanity escapes an artlect war. For example, the artlects come into being far faster than anyone had anticipated, so that there is not enough time for human politics to react. Then the artlects quickly decide that their fate lies far from the Earth and into the cosmos. They simply leave, sparing humanity. This is a possibility, but less likely than the scenario in which it takes decades to figure out how the human brain works, in order to put the principles of the functioning of the human brain into artificial brains, to reach human intelligence and consciousness levels in machines. Thus, there will be enough time for human politics to unfold. The Terrans will have enough time to prepare for the artlect war, and so will the Cosmos/Cyborgists, to defend themselves against the anticipated first strike of the Terrans. In my view, the most realistic scenario is in fact the worst. I'm very glad to be old now, mid-60s, well now almost 70. I will probably live for another 20 to 30 years, time enough to see the species dominance debate rage, but not the artlect war. I will be lucky enough to live between the two major wars, World War II and the Artlect War. I will die peacefully in my bed, but the young generation will not. They will be caught up in the horror of gigadeath and will not survive it. And a bit of bio. Prof. Dr. Hugo de GARIS was formerly director of the Artificial Brain Lab in the School of Information Science and Technology at Xiamen University, Xiamen, Fujian Province, China, where he was directing the building of China's first artificial brain. He is now an arcing, that's after retirement careering, mathematical physicist, researching into the possibility of femtotech and topological quantum computing, etc. He is the author of the books The Artlect War, Cosmos vs. Terrans, a bitter controversy concerning whether humanity should build godlike, massively intelligent machines, and Multis and Monos, what the multicultured can teach the monocultured, towards the creation of a global state, and is currently writing a third book, Artificial Brains, an Evolved Neural Net Approach. No, I didn't push that. He has lived in 7 countries, Australia, England, Holland, Belgium, Japan, America and China. He travels the world giving invited talks on the species dominance debate and writes essays on this and other topics. See his website, profhugodegaris.wordpress.com. Prof. de GARIS was recently made the technical consultant for a major Hollywood movie on the broad theme of this essay. There's a whole story that followed that, but that's for other essays. See later. Ciao. Prof. Dr. Hugo de Garis. Website, email, profhugodegaris@yahoo.com. Website, profhugodegaris.wordpress.com. YouTube channel name, Hugo de Garis. Ciao.